you know what? There are some tools that we use that we like to think are leverage and that are supposed to give us more time and energy and resources. You know, it's basically lower the amount of energy and time and money that we're using and getting better results. And one of those key things that seems to be all the craze right now is artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, Claude, the million other ones. And when we're using these to help us get ahead, well, there is a risk that's actually killing your juju. It's killing your flow state.
Exactly.
And so today we're going to talk about all the ways that AI, the ways that you're using AI that are killing your ability to get into flow state, and then you're killing your ability to grow your business.
With that, we're back with another episode of BizMeds. We are your neuroscience business coaches and your hosts for the show. My name is Saad.
And my name is Darius. And we're here to bring real life scaling challenges as we've scaled $30 million in under 18 months. And we're talking about the real things that either grow or kill your business. And this one specifically is, I think, a big one because we're big proponents of leverage. We love talking about leverage. We're all about helping you do more with less. Yep. And so this specifically, I think, hits home.
Yeah. Especially coming back from the holidays, into your new year.
Absolutely.
I know like last week's episode, we had spent some time like prepping for that one, but as we're getting ramped up into our like day-to-day, into our business coaching, into our like working with our clients, I'm finding that I'm constantly asking for help on things that I should easily be able to answer myself. And it is throwing me for a bit of a change mentally because I can't seem to find myself being able to lock in the way I was last year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I think that's some of the things we've been working with some of the clients as well, and specifically around their flow states within a 1 month day, or even just during using flow blocks during everyday kind of things and trying to create leverage, where, that time should be just absolutely crushing in terms of your productivity and creativity and creating real leverage. We're finding some people blocked in terms of flow. It's becoming a flow blocker when, we're trying to leverage it to create leverage.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And it's supposed to become a tool in your tool belt to help you get more for less.
Exactly.
And so we'll cover the kind of like the main areas in why AI is actually killing your flow today. And then I think we need to talk a little bit about, okay, how do we recommend, or what are some ways that you can use AI better in flow so it doesn't kick you out of flow or prevent you from getting into flow?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's a great way.
Yeah. How about, so there's the first one, and we're just going to say, these are in no particular order. We're just covering them at random. There's no, there's no hierarchy of one's worse than the other. They're all bad. They're all less than ideal. Exactly. So let's just jump into them.
Yeah.
The first one is, I think if you are trying to be in a flow block and you're trying to get things done, the one thing that you end up doing is context switching, right? And so that can be either you have to keep prompting AI or give it enough context all the time that it kills your ability to focus because you're having to pull yourself back out of something to then it's like explaining it. You're basically talking to someone else while you're doing it when you should be kind of locked in.
Yeah.
And they're not an active participant.
Yeah.
And you almost prolong the struggle phase more. You're just in a perpetual struggle phase because you're always just trying to provide more context. And so if you've ever used AI, it's basically like you sit there typing away, trying to explain to it after your first prompt, like all the information that it needs to hopefully give you a good answer.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so imagine this, if it's taking you 15 minutes to fully grasp the understanding of what it is that you're trying to work towards, it's going to take you another 5 to 10 to explain it to AI. Yeah. So now you're actually 30 minutes in. And by the time you actually get an answer, that's going to lead you to the next thing. So that brings us to our next problem is the prompt tweaking.
Yeah.
So you're constantly working through and trying to figure out what the right message needs to be, just like you said, working with AI to help it understand where you are. And, that is the right way to use AI, to give it the more context and more details is going
And
to help.
question it more.
Exactly, yeah. But the problem is, if you're in flow state and you're trying to actually be productive and, deliver some type of goals at the end of your flow session, you're not going to come out as a winner. Because this is exactly the thing that I've been struggling with, is because I'm constantly asking AI, and I'm constantly having to, like you said, baby it and help it understand what it is, what the problem is that I wanted to solve.
Yeah, and one of the root causes of that is it's breaking focus.
Yeah.
Right. So you're not locked in. You're not problem solving. You're relying on something else to do problem solving. So you're not even getting into a deep enough flow state. You keep backing out and it's that task switching.
Yeah.
It's a form of distraction.
Yeah.
And then you have task residue because you're trying to get this thing done. But then inevitably when you're doing that, it gets frustrating because you think you're giving it enough context, but it's not. It's spitting out. And depending on how you prompt it, I don't know, like what I have, my experience with it is, especially with ChatGPT, is it will take something and it'll automatically just go into solutioning and spit out this long thing that you have to read through, and it goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And unless you've done a really good job on the front end of pre-prompting it or setting up in your settings of, don't move to solutioning, I'll tell you, or prompting that I will tell you when I want a solution, and be very specific with it. Again, which takes more cognitive load, a lot of more pre-planning to do. And unless you've done that, you set yourself up for failure, because now it's like, it goes into this thing. You're like, no, I don't want that. I was talking about this. And so you get 1 and 2, that whole context switching and the prompt tweaking that just prevent you from being able to focus, because you're not even in the present, because you're just, all you have is just frustration with this thing that is, you feel like is talking to a baby.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully that resonates.
It does.
I mean, it's funny. This is a little off topic, but on the topic of AI, it's that if anyone, there's so many kind of like, I think big names of, AI is the future and all these things. And there is some, I can't remember where I heard it, and don't ask me to fact check this, but you can Google it and just check the veracity of this, but they're saying somewhere in the neighborhood of like, I think it's like 50% of the traffic on the internet is like bots, right? And so if your AI is exposed to the internet and doing stuff like that and looking at stuff, like, you have to check a lot of things, because if it's getting its information from bots, you're literally having an AI or computer tell a computer what to think. And so like, there's a high risk associated with it. So there's a lot of fact checking that you have to do.
Yeah.
So, and I think that plays into another thing, a couple of the other ones, but that being said, like, there's just a lot of rework that inevitably you have to do, and you have to really know what you're doing with an AI to get it to do what you need and want it to do.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that, but I think as we think it or talk it through, and that is that you're probably better off using AI on the front end before you do a flow session to help you compile a lot of things to get you prepared. But that's solutioning, that's later. That's kind of like the aside conversation around that.
Yeah. Well, you said it perfectly, because like what people struggle with is like, they don't, because you're only asking a very high level question, you're only going to get a high level answer.
Yes.
So your mind has not fully wrapped around what the problem is yet.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so you haven't wrapped your head around the problem. In your mind, you're like, this is where I catch myself many times, and how I've become better at prompting it is understanding that the AI has zero context for your problem.
Yeah.
It has zero context. It doesn't know the ins and outs of your environment, what other tools, resources, and things, your experience, or where you're coming from. It's open slate. And so it's just a prediction machine, right? So
Yeah.
it's going to take, and if you haven't fully wrapped your head around it or questioned it the right way, you're going to get really ineffective answers.
Exactly.
So, so then we come to which part of the problem is that whole shallow thinking, right? So because we're spent at a level of just kind of like trying to get this thing moving, and it feeds us a lot of things, and it potentially is giving us information that isn't correct or not fully verified, because there are still a lot of AI hallucinations in there and things it's made up. And people have, it's been documented where people have submitted like papers and stuff like that with references that don't even exist, completely made up by AI, and no one's checked it. Like you have a propensity to maybe not think as deeply as you would, because you're relying too much on this thing. Like you're putting too much stock into what this thing is telling you versus actually doing the research and, some deep diving into things. And so you're not even thinking or approaching the problem as deeply as you could.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, again, you're not going to be super productive in flow. You're not going to get real deep flow state because you're not really challenging. There's no challenge skill ratio there.
Exactly. And I think, so I know we said that there's no like particular ranking to any of these, and I feel like you will probably agree with me on this one. The creativity hijack.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that is definitely one of the most important impacts that hopping out of flow state because of AI that will have on you as a person. And so this is going to be a completely super obscure example. So remember the time when in the summer when it's just so hot and you're like, oh man, it's so hot. Like I need something. And somebody suggests like, hey, let's go get ice cream. Now that's the only thing you can think about. But if you go through that whole process of figuring out like what it is that I should do in this hot weather, you can come up with like 10 different examples. But because somebody like fed you an example immediately, it's taken away your creativity.
Yeah.
So if you flip that to the same thing with AI, if you ask it for some examples and get you to do something, or you get it to do something for you, it's giving you some suggestions. And your brain, even if you want to believe it or not, is immediately going to start trying to build on those solutions instead of trying to come up with something more unique, something more meaningful or valuable. So I personally resonate with that a lot because like I find myself having this issue. Again, it's one of the big reasons why like I started the podcast off with like, are you finding that after the holidays that AI is screwing over your flow state?
That's fair. Yeah. And I actually would agree that it is probably the bigger risk in all of that. And not only killing your flow state, but just having longer lasting effects of killing your creativity.
Yeah. Because
now you're so reliant on something. And again, I haven't verified this. This is just secondhand. I'm going to preface that. Is that I think they have been, and I think there was a study released about like how AI is making you dumber.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, but again, if you're using it the wrong way, and most people are using it the wrong way, and I would say, and this was my earlier point where like, AI is coming for your job. Well, if you've used AI extensively, AI is not coming for your job. Yeah. The things that AI can do is it can replace a lot of very low value tasks, a lot of repetitive tasks, right? It's not coming for super creative jobs. Again, it is limited to the context that it has. It's a prediction machine, things like that. Like there's certain level of creativity that comes with, the human experience. And I don't think I think if we learn how to use AI better, you can actually increase your productivity and your creativity in ways, but the way most people use it is actually killing it. Yeah. Again, they become too reliant on it, right? It becomes a crutch, and they buy into the positivity bias that a lot of these chat models give you, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. You're awesome. And it's like, okay, you can chill that out for a second. I'm not that smart. I know that. I don't need your constant, affirmation that I'm as smart and as great as I am, because if you are objective, you're not, which is why you're using the AI, is because there's an area that you don't know and you're trying to push it that far. Yeah. So there is that positivity bias that you have to be careful of. And that can
just that's why I never read the first line. I just always skip over the first paragraph. Okay. All right, the meat's in the middle.
Great catch. I'm like, okay, anyone using this thing would be able to understand that, like any reasonable person looking at it. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'm like, if someone was saying that to me, I'd be like, pump your brakes. Yeah. Just quit blowing smoke up my ass. Yeah, so just, point, just knock it off right now. Which then goes to that whole, like, the verify overload. Yeah. Now, I think that's two pieces. One, if you don't know that it's feeding you that, right, you become over-reliant on it. And so you're subject to that positivity bias, or like whatever it says you take, and it kills your creativity. The other part is, that you can't 100% trust it. So, and because you haven't done the pre-work on it, you now are stuck, kicking you out of, can I trust this, to having to verify it. And again, you're not being as focused as you could be, because flow follows focus. And if your focus is broken, then you're not going to get into flow. Yeah. So it's killing your flow state. I mean, that's just how it is. Yeah. So I think, have we covered all of the kind of the major risks of, or how AI is killing your flow state? Yeah. Yeah. And I think we've peppered in a few ideas around, like, how can you use chat or AI better. So one, and I think we've focused more on like a chat GPT model, like an LLM, right? We didn't really touch into like I called agentic AI. So like being able for an AI to perform certain tasks for you, right? Yeah. And so that's one area that you can automate certain redundant processes that is actually super helpful. Yeah. Right. So one client we have, it literally just helped kind of streamline some processes. One client we have is actually working on, they're creating their CRM, but they're also going to be able to connect or take their recordings from their CRM or from their sales calls and dump that transcript into a folder, have AI read that, take the applicable notes and update the CRM.
Oh, nice.
Right. So saves huge time. So it reduces the friction of using a CRM and keeping track of things, because one of the biggest problems with CRMs is like, I got to go in and I got to manually update it, right? Exactly. Well, now if we can have basically an assistant there that takes your transcript, there is one manual piece, got to take the transcript and dump it there. Yeah. As a starting point, we can leverage that time. You get that time back. You just have to verify that everything's good. Boom, you can review it. Your CRM is up to date.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And now there's less of an excuse. You can actually use it to help you make better and better data decisions, because we're just lowering the friction it takes to use that tool. Yeah. And we're using AI and an agent in a way that's supportive of the work we're doing. We're not relying on it to give us that information. Right. Exactly. So that's one way, like agentic AI, an agent is one way to help use AI to actually create leverage in your business and free up time to get into a flow state. Yeah. Yeah. The other one is probably, like we said, it's do the pre-work. Use AI to help you do the pre-work. Yeah. And spend your time kind of muddling through the prompting. What I suggest is, one of the things I felt extremely helpful was if you can use the talk feature to it. So either the conversation, like talking, it talks back to you, or just the dictate function. Yeah. And then you can have long pauses and you can just let it go on, and you can have the ums and the long, and you can think out loud. Exactly. Yeah. And that's a really good way to go through it and approach it like, or I'm trying to solve a specific problem. Yeah. Right. So it's like, hey, I'm trying to figure out the leverage I can create in my business to do this thing. Yeah. I currently use SharePoint. I use this tool, use that tool. I'm finding it takes me a lot of time to do this manual process, to do this, to this, to this. What I'd like to do is figure out a way. Is there a way, or what options are there? Can I connect these programs or these pieces of software, these processes together that actually saves me the manual time to do this? Yeah. And what are some of those options?
Yeah, give me 3 options, like least resistance to like that's going to
Yeah,
require a
my
lot of time.
ability to code is very limited,
Yeah.
and so like give me the options that are would
Like user friendly.
yeah, exactly,
yeah.
right? Kind of a
Some
low code friendly way to do
Yeah.
this. What are the things, or what other information do you need,
Yeah.
or that I can provide you that would help you make better options for me?
Exactly.
Like that's an idea for a better prompt than like, oh, I need to do this thing, boom, and then it doesn't have any context. But the more context you can just talk to it,
Exactly. Yeah.
and that's the pre-work. That's the idea of helping you find the leverage, and then now once you can use it and help you build a plan to kind of go through that, well, essentially you're building a clear goals list. Now you can take that into a flow state and you can execute on it. And that's where you can get into deep flow and just execute, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, exactly.
What other thoughts do you have on how you can?
The other one I was thinking about was kind of similar to a little bit of the agentic, but I won't get too far into the agentic stuff. I think to your point, like it has to be done prior to the actual day of you getting into flow state.
Yeah.
You can't have both happening on the same day because, again, your mind will not be able to comprehend all of that all at once and try to also get into the flow state at once.
Yeah. So I think those are some ways you can use AI to get into a flow state, to not keep you out, to again, help you from doing context switching while you're in a flow state, help you prevent, the prompt tweaking. And basically we're trying to remove as much of the AI work outside of a flow state as possible.
Yeah.
Right. And so you could be using a rewrite function, right? If you have a really good copywriting AI and you've done your initial one, you could also argue you could do that outside of your flow state, right? And kind of do some tweaking there if you want to play around with it. But then what you're doing is making sure that your thinking stays deep in the moment. You allow your creativity and productivity to really fly in a flow state, which is what we want. And so with that, I mean, that's how you're going to get AI to help from keeping you kill your flow state and actually create deeper flow states. So anything else you'd like to add today?
No, I think that's a perfect place to wrap it up.
Perfect. So remember, my name is Darius.
And I'm Saad.
And we are your neuroscience business coaches here at BizMeds, here to give you the minimum effective dose to scale your business. And with that, scale your biology to scale your business, because you can't scale personality. And with that, we just want to say thank you to Saad's mom. Love you. My mom, love you. Thank you so much. We want to wish everyone a happy 2026 as it kind of kicks off, wherever this lands in 2026, early on. And we also have our new tool to help you figure out your constraints. We're just tweaking the last little bits and doing our last little bit of beta testing on that before we release it. If you're interested to figure out what is your major constraint at whatever level you are in the business, this tool will help you identify that in under 10 minutes. I would say probably like 5 minutes, and you will have email results right to your inbox of what level of the business you're in, what stage, and what specific constraint you have and what your focus should be for the next 90 days. A very clear course of action. So we're here and we give that to you absolutely free. We don't ask for anything, but this is to help you gain more clarity in 2026, which is going to help you drive more flow and more focus, more flow, and more results in 2026. And we want you to have that because in all of our experience, clarity is king. It helps you just cut through all the noise and helps you to stop doing stupid things. Absolutely. Right? Yep. So with that, that'll be coming up. So if you're interested, leave a comment, just say, constraint, whatever it is. I don't care. Leave any comment and we'll get a hold of you. Absolutely. And we'll be able to get that, and make sure you subscribe to our other, actually, if you subscribe to the other Burnout to Breakthrough Masterclass, you'll be on our email list and we'll make sure that you have priority with that. So with that, I want to say thank you again. And remember, you're just one day away from the life you've always dreamed about. We're going to see you in the next episode.